In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I use ChatGPT to set up my business plan for my spiritual business. Imagine writing a business plan that's crystal clear, resonant with your spiritual mission, and powerful enough to pitch to investors, collaborators, or even just yourself. So I did exactly that, but I didn't do it alone. I used AI to help me along the way. I brought my background and experience to the table, put it into ChatGPT. It helped me create my offers, my content strategy, and even put together some long-term goals for me that I can use as part of my roadmap. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. If you've been stuck in idea mode, unsure of how to organize your business and make it real, then this video is for you. Because the truth is, most spiritual entrepreneurs don't lack vision. They lack structure. And that lack of structure is keeping you from getting the momentum and clarity that you need to scale, or even just launch your business to begin with. So by the end of this video, you'll be able to use ChatGPT as a thought partner, create a clear, resonant business roadmap, and start treating your superpowers as the powerful gifts to your business that they are. So let's dive in. So first, when you're starting any type of business, you need to think about, what do you bring to the table? Everyone has some kind of unique experience or area of expertise. Most lightworkers that I see are really quick to judge themselves or downplay all of the hard work and the experience that they've created over the years. Let me just say it right now. That's bullshit. You have powerful, strong gifts that the world needs and is ready for. So don't give me this crap that I'm not good at anything. Wrong. Everyone is good at something or has some kind of unique experience that will provide value to someone else. Now, if you're just getting started in life, maybe you haven't even gone to college yet, or you're still figuring out what you want your true path to be, then it's actually a good idea to invest in skill development, like getting an education, taking an online class, or reading 1,000 books so that you can actually go and do stuff. Chances are, if you're thinking of starting a business or already have one, then you already know how to do stuff. And that's the key. You want to use your personal and professional background as your starting point. Now, for spiritual entrepreneurs, chances are you're going to have some kind of gift, skill set, or area of expertise that you're going to want to monetize. Another thing you need to think about is, what kind of offers do you want to provide to people? ChatGPT will help you figure this out, but even before you use the AI prompts, you need to think about, what kind of lifestyle or business do you want to have? Are you more of the type who wants to do educational videos, provide services like consulting or business coaching, or maybe you make physical products like art or books or anything else that is literally physical in the world? Now, you don't have to have it all figured out right now, but you should just get a sense of your personality, how you use your energy, and what really resonates with you. For example, for me personally, one of my first jobs was in retail, and I literally discovered how much I hate working in retail by having that job. So for me, having a business that was more aligned with my interests, like education and teaching and offering advice, that was a lot more resonant with my energy and my authenticity. So rather than create a brick and mortar store or make physical products that I ship around the world, for me, it's a lot more resonant to focus on teaching, education, or having consulting services. So at this point, all you need to know is a general sense of what you like and what you don't like, and AI will help fill in the gaps. Another thing you're going to want to think about is, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Before you start a business, or maybe you already have one, it's really important to think about the long term. Having a business is not something trivial to step into. It's like stepping into a marriage. It's a lifelong commitment. And especially if you're partnering with someone else, then at a legal and financial level, it almost is like a marriage. And don't get me wrong, it's perfectly fine to have a hobby and sell some products based off of your hobby work. But if you're really serious about turning this into a business, which means having enough income where not only you can pay the bills for the business, but also for you and other people, then that's a different thing altogether. Now, you don't have to have it necessarily all figured out. This is where AI is going to help you give a vision of what it will take to get there. So with that context, now I'm going to show you what I put into ChatGPT and why. So like I mentioned, I started with listing out my background and area of expertise as my very first prompt. I wrote here, I'm creating a new business. Note that I didn't say what exactly. I have skills as a trained mystic, as an alchemist, medium, and oracle. a doctorate in technology, media, and society, a 10-year career in creating online courses for Coursera, consulting skills using the iBENS method. List some business ideas related to my skill set. So if you'll notice here, this isn't exactly a fully detailed resume or a long story about everything that I've ever known. But what I am focusing on are the areas and skills that I want to somehow bring into my business, but I'm not sure how yet. There's this element of mysticism, of consulting and creating courses, but also my background in technology and computer science. I couldn't figure out how to make all of this stuff come together in a cohesive way, but this is where AI really helped me out. So this is the output that ChatGPT gave me. First, it recommended some mystical online courses and workshops, also consulting services, integrating tech into my mystical background, doing mystical content creation, a corporate wellness program, offering retreats and events, creating a product line, and doing mentorship and coaching. So as you can see here, these are some really good ideas just based off of my core unique background. Now, like I mentioned, there are some that don't necessarily resonate with me. I don't really want to make a mystical product line. And retreats and events, I have done in the past, but it's not exactly something I want to do all the time. So what resonated with me were online courses and workshops, creating consulting services, and maybe around mentorship and coaching. So this just starts to get the ball rolling about what you could possibly do for your business. You don't have to commit to it now. We're just using AI as a thought partner to get started. So the next prompt I put into AI was, which of these prospective businesses have the most customer pain? Customer pain is some kind of problem that they are desperate to solve. Now, this is the next step of the process that is super important. Every single business and product at the end of the day is all about solving some type of customer problem or pain point. Think of every single product you've ever owned. Now think about, what is it doing to your life to make it easier, faster, better, or maybe even just making you feel good and happy inside? That's what a product is all about. So really important to think about what the biggest pain points are, because the bigger the pain in the world, then the more people are going to resonate with it and want to buy your product. This gets into target audience and niches, but before we get into that, we just want to start with the basics. With AI, we're going to look at the different types of customer pain and then see which one resonates the most and might have biggest market opportunity to be profitable. So the AI very accurately describes how customer pain points involves understanding the problems that they are most desperate to solve. So we don't have a clear target audience yet, but that's okay. We are just starting with some of the basics so we can see where we can dive deeper into more detail. So with mystical consulting, the customer pain point is they're looking for personal guidance and spiritual growth, and they need some help along the way. So consulting services can help provide personal guidance and navigate their challenges. Awesome. With corporate wellness, companies are increasingly aware of impact of employee well-being, productivity, and retention. For mystical online courses and workshops, many people are looking for ways to develop their spiritual practices and gain mystical knowledge, but may not have access to quality resources. For tech-integrated mystical experiences, people often struggle to find effective and engaging spiritual practices that fit into their modern technology-driven lives. This one's super interesting. Not quite the focus that I had in mind initially, but that's one of the great things about AI is it can help present new ideas to you that maybe you otherwise wouldn't have considered. And then for mystical mentorship and coaching, this could help aspiring mystics and individuals seek spiritual development. They often lack guidance and support on their journey. This one seems pretty similar to me as the first one for consulting services. So I think the main difference are going to be the target audience, the niche, and the actual problems that are trying to be solved. So my next prompt was about the target audience itself. One of the things that I've learned just studying a lot of business stuff and following content creators is that it's a really good idea to start with people who already have high purchasing power. In other words, you want to sell to rich people. Now, rich can mean different things to different people, but if you put it this way, targeting, let's say, a small demographic in Indonesia is probably going to have a different purchasing power than someone in the United States. Generally, the principle is the more you charge for your services, the more money that you make. It's really hard to sell a very cheap product and make a ton of money off of it. And by cheap, I mean low prices. In fact, it takes pretty much $1 billion corporation to solve this problem. If you think of some of the major companies around the world like Amazon or Walmart or Netflix, they are offering a massive amount of goods and services for a very low price. Now, their margins or the profit they make comes from the volume in which they distribute around the world. So in order to make millions or billions of dollars, you're going to need a lot of people to make up for the difference. Whereas on the flip side, if you're a small business that charges $10,000 per coaching service or $1 million for some kind of SaaS or business-to-business solution, it can be a little bit different. You don't need to sell to as many people, but the price is going to be a lot higher and the profit margin's a lot bigger. Long story short, this is why I wanted to target my AI prompt to focus on someone who had high purchasing power. But I wasn't sure who exactly would have more money to buy my products and services. So I asked ChatGPT. So for consulting services, it recommended that there's high-level executives and professionals who are seeking personal and career guidance, as well as entrepreneurs and business owners looking for clarity and direction. For corporate wellness programs, there's large corporations and businesses focusing on employee learning and development, as well as HR departments that are looking to prioritize mental health and work-life balance. You can already start to get the sense of how different these businesses could be depending on the target audience and the type of services offered. Creating a corporate wellness program, super different than offering consulting services to executives or leaders, but still really helpful in giving me an idea of what's possible. For online courses and workshops, there's affluent individuals who are interested in spiritual growth and learning new practices. There's also tech-savvy professionals who are seeking personal enrichment. Similarly, for the tech integration, mystical experiences, there could be young professionals in tech industries who are open to innovative spiritual practices. Generally, professionals who work in the tech industry usually have a very high income, and that can be a really powerful demographic to target for your business. This one is a little bit more vague, but still gets to the point around wealthy individuals who are looking for a unique and immersive spiritual experience. For mentorship and coaching, it recommends here successful business leaders and entrepreneurs who are seeking personal and professional guidance, or high net worth individuals who are looking for bespoke spiritual mentoring. For mystical retreats and events, these are going to be well-off individuals who are able to, let's say, take a week off and go to Cabo or another premium destination for some type of experience or event. But this could also work for corporate groups who run team building exercises or offsites for their companies and their employees. Already, this gives me a really good idea of the different flavors of pain points that people have, as well as people with high purchasing power to make it possible. So next I asked, what are the easiest ways to target these prospects? Targets will ultimately be promotions and other ways to find them to start the selling process. So in other words, in order to sell a product, you have to find the people who want to buy it. Now, a lot of this I don't necessarily know a lot about. I do have some experience in some of these areas, but not so much others, like working with HR administrations or doing B2B sales and corporate learning and development. The reason why I wanted to spend time looking at this is to get an idea of how do I find these people? Because ultimately I'm going to have to do paid advertising or cold outreach like sales calls and, try to get them to buy. But if I don't even know where to go, it's going to be really hard to run a business around that. So for the first one, consulting services, some of the promotional strategies include LinkedIn marketing, going to conferences and events, or offering exclusive workshops that are invite only. For corporate wellness programs, there's corporate partnerships, doing B2B marketing, that's business to business, and offering case studies and testimonials from previous corporate clients to demonstrate impact. For mystical online courses and workshops, there's social media advertising, content marketing, and online course platforms. For tech integration, influencer collaborations, tech conferences and meetups, and doing digital advertising. For mystical mentorship and coaching, private clubs and networks, going to or creating referral programs, and creating high-end premium content like masterclasses and positioning yourself as an authority. For mystical retreats and events, there's luxury travel platforms, corporate retreat services, and of course, targeted advertising. So some of these things you're gonna have to do across your business anyway, like advertising. If you're a serious business owner, you need to come to terms with the fact that you will have to pay for ads. Because how will people know that you exist and tell you about your stuff if they don't know? Let me redo that. How can people buy your stuff if they don't know you exist? They can't. So that's why it's super important to know that you're gonna have to do paid advertising at some point. There's other stuff you're gonna have to do over time as you build your business, like email marketing, search engine optimization, and even just doing cold outreach and networking. Regardless, this AI prompt has already given me a really good idea about where I can go to find prospective customers and build my business around that. Now, again, we're just looking at the business plan side of things. We don't have to have all of this figured out now, but just going through this process is giving me a lot of insights about the type of business I want to create and the type of business I don't want to create. Spoiler alert, the one that I chose is mystical online courses and workshops. Ultimately, this is the one that resonated the most with me because I have the most experience and expertise in this space with over 15 years of creating online courses, both in academia and in corporation, but also it's something that I really enjoy doing. And that combination is really wonderful. Doing something that you both enjoy and have a lot of expertise in, because then it's much easier to establish yourself as an authority and get your work out there. So this is the first chat that I created when setting up my business. Next, I'm going to show you how I refine these ideas, put it into more detail so that I could get a much more explicit understanding of how to build my roadmap and my business plan. So now that I have that understanding from that ChatGPT, so now that I have a better understanding of where my business is probably going to go and not go, I've decided to create a new chat in ChatGPT where I'm focusing on more details. So for the first prompt here, I give it a lot more detail about some of the things that I resonate with and that I want to focus on. For example, I give it a little bit more background on my area of expertise. So I've trained as a mystic for over 5 years. I have a doctorate in computer science education with over 10 years of experience in ed tech. I currently work for Coursera and help companies build online courses that make millions of dollars at scale. Now, really important that you be truthful here, because if you're going to build a business about your area of expertise, make sure you actually have that expertise. It's going to help you at an energetic level because people will know if you're a fraud. And obviously we don't want to do that. Okay, so next I look at what I want to do. So right now, I'd like to make a business that can have a few services and product. So one is to help Lightworkers, so healers, mystics, people who are born here to make a better world, but also to become better at building their businesses so they can succeed in life. So at a mystical and spiritual level, I knew that I wanted to work with people who are focused on building the light paradigm. For me, in terms of my spiritual values and my mission as myself as a light worker, I basically want to help empower those who are empowering the planet for the creation of a beautiful world. Now, if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, chances are you probably have some kind of soul-driven mission like this. And at a mystical level, I think it's a really good idea to have a big why about why you're creating your business. And by big why, I mean somehow you're expressing how to make the world a better place and involving the human collective in your work. The more you involve the human collective in your work, the easier it's going to be to manifest and spread your business. So for me, I knew I wanted to focus on Lightworkers somehow. And I know there's a lot of different types of Lightworkers, and we'll get to that more in a moment, but just know that for me, it was really important to have this be a core aspect of the business, which is why I put it in this chat prompt. So next in this chat, I started to draft some ideas of what I wanted to create or what I was already doing. Because at this point, I had some hobbies or side projects that I was working on, but they didn't necessarily have a cohesive vision yet. So I wanted AI to help me create that cohesive vision. So I basically just brain dumped all the random things that I was working on with the hope that maybe it will create something more structured and holistic that I can focus on. So it says here, I will have a few products and marketing outputs. I have an Instagram and TikTok account where I post information and tips about mysticism and how to incorporate mystical energies into your daily life. I'm also starting up a services business in consulting. I have a first client who has a lot of mystical skill and information, but not sure how to monetize. My plan is to create a revenue share model where I build her business and products for her and keep a portion of the revenue as payment because she has no seed money. This first client is just to get experience and for me to figure things out since I'm new working in smaller online course creation and doing it myself as a business. I'm also creating another spin-off product that is focused on healers, which will include a detailed course about how to become a better healer and a paid community membership with high-touch support for their new skills. So this is pretty much just a conglomerate of all the random stuff that I was working on before I created a proper business plan. So all of this work is being done under my brand of Mystic Twist. I'm looking to create very specific customer avatars and unify these ideas into one cohesive theme under my brand. So generate some ideas about how to put all of these pieces together that may inform the business development of my company. I've seen a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs who have a ton of products that they're focusing on. Let's say you're a wellness practitioner or you have a wellness center. You might be an esthetician and offer skincare services while also selling skincare product. You might also have the space for massage therapists to come in and teach some other skills like Qigong or acupuncture and who knows what else. So I think this is a common problem that a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs and lightworkers have because they want to help people in a lot of different ways or have a lot of different interests. I definitely had the same problem with lots of irons in the fire at any given time, but I knew that to be successful, I would have to somehow synthesize these together in a cohesive brand narrative and offer so that people can actually follow along with what the hell I'm doing. So this is where ChatGPT started to create the foundations of the business plan. So the first thing it gave me is some ideas about brand identity and messaging. It gave me a core mission statement and a tagline. I love this so much because as an entrepreneur, you have to have some kind of mission of why you're in business to begin with. It's ultimately the big why that is driving you to do all this hard work in the first place. But then a tagline is something that is really practical and that you might want to put on your business card or on your website or on your social media handles. Regardless, it's something that can be really powerful and synthesizes your entire business into a one-sentence elevator pitch. Next, ChatGPT created customer avatars. So avatars in business context basically means that you create a fake persona and that persona essentially represents your dream client or target audience that you are selling your products towards. As a gamer, whenever I think of avatar, it means something super different, but in the business world, avatar generally means a representation of your audience. The first avatar created is the aspiring healer, a young, passionate individual looking to monetize their healing abilities but lacking business knowledge. Avatar 2, the established mystic, a seasoned practitioner who has built a following but needs guidance in scaling their business. Now, off the bat, I loved these two avatars because this is exactly who I wanted to work with. I wanted to help people who are looking to monetize their superpowers, get their Lightworker energy out into the world, but they're not exactly sure how to yet. Whereas the second avatar of working with an established mystic or practitioner who already has a lot figured out, but maybe they just need a little bit more guidance in scaling their business and taking it to the next level so they turn their 5-figure income into 6-figure income. This was so perfect because ChatGPT finally put into words what I couldn't, which is the type of people I want to work with. At a spiritual level, this is what's really interesting and engaging for me, but at a business level, these are people who are also going to have high purchasing power for the products and services that I can offer. Also important that ChatGPT created some pain points and solutions here for how I can help these avatars succeed. And this is where things get really cool because ChatGPT is even offering product offers and ideas on what I can create to sell. I think it's always a good idea to offer tiered services at multiple levels. There's an entry-level point, a mid-level tier, and then some kind of high-ticket or premium service or product that you offer. And generally, the whole business experience is that you funnel people through your top of funnel product or service or freebie, and then ultimately point them towards a more premium offer in the long term. So some entry-level services here could be a free or low-cost webinar or a workshop introducing the basics for businesses for Lightworkers. A mid-tier could be a one-on-one consulting package, like 3 months or a 6-month plan to develop personalized business strategies. And then the premium offer could be a detailed course and community membership for ongoing support and advanced skills training. I love this so much because immediately it already helped me start to generate ideas about where I could start and where I want to be, let's say in 5 years. Next, there's the marketing strategy. So like I mentioned before, every single business out there is going to need to market their work at some point. People need to know that you exist so that they can buy your stuff. So let's see what ChatGPT recommended for me in my business. First, it recommended that I use my Instagram and TikTok to share valuable tips, success stories, and insights about blending mysticism with business, and regularly engage with my audience with live Q&A sessions. Next, it recommended that I offer lead magnets or free resources that address common pain points for Lightworkers. This helps to build your email list. And finally, testimonials and case studies. As I work with my first client, gather feedback and success stories to showcase the effectiveness of my services. So even if you're just starting out, you can start to make progress towards marketing your services or your business with some very basic tools and information. Then ChatGPT talked about community engagement. Now, this is a really interesting topic because I have seen community be very contentious in the corporate world and in the small business world. Generally, I see community as an afterthought in the mega corporation, which honestly I think is a huge detriment because the way people are moving towards in society these days is looking for more connection, more engagement, and more networking, not less. So I really liked that there was a focus of community engagement here because I want to focus on community for not only my business, but because I know pedagogically, when you learn together and when you create established connections with people, you are so much more successful. So I love that this was an area of focus from ChatGPT because I already knew immediately this was something I wanted to incorporate in my business. So it's recommending that I create a free or low-cost online course. It could even be in something like Discord or Facebook, where Lightworkers can connect, share experiences, and support each other. This can also serve as a funnel to my paid membership. There can also be monthly challenges where we encourage the community members to apply their learning, share their progress, and celebrate their achievements. So previously in this chat, I had shared an example of a business model that I wanted to work with, which was establishing a revenue share model with prospective clients. So for example, ChatGPT as a result recommended that I offer a rev share model to other Lightworkers and help them scale, providing them with income. It's also a good way to collaborate with clients to highlight their expertise and promote them through my channels. And of course, like any business, you're going to need to iterate and evolve over time. So I love the fact that ChatGPT literally said you're going to need to evaluate and iterate on everything that you do. So you can think of this as implementing feedback loops or regularly seek feedback from clients and community to understand the needs and refine my offerings. Also to focus on adaptability. Stay flexible and open to pivoting the business model based on what resonates most with your audience. So I really loved these suggestions, which is why I said that to ChatGPT. These are great suggestions. Write some examples of each theme you just highlighted that I can use to ideate. So the next set of prompts is basically just refining what was already inputted. Now, this is really important when you're using AI. You have to train the model with feedback. So I was telling AI that, hey, you're doing a great job, now make it more detailed. Whereas if I didn't resonate with the output, then that's what I would have said too. I would have said something like, hey, this doesn't really resonate. Can you generate some different ideas or offer some other perspectives? Because I don't really like A, B, and C, for example. But in this case, since I did like what I saw, I said to ChatGPT, please just keep going and give me more information. So here, what it did is it started to refine each of these sections with a lot more detail. For example, with our avatars, we have a much more specific understanding of who this avatar is. Let's say a 28-year-old yoga instructor or a 45-year-old psychic medium with a strong following. It also started to create some ideas of what I could develop for my product offerings, including webinar titles, consulting packages, or even a course name. In the marketing strategy of things, it also even gave some ideas about weekly posts featuring tips, incorporating my spirituality and business practices, among other things. So again, what I did here is I took the ideas that resonated with me that I really liked and asked ChatGPT to continue to ideate and refine what was working and what wasn't working. So here I literally just copy and pasted what I liked. Are you a spiritual entrepreneur looking to take your business to the next level? Book a free discovery call where we'll discuss your goals and how I can help you achieve them. Let's work together to create a successful future for your online business. So then I asked, how can I make this avatar and niche more refined and specific? Share some ideas with modified improvements. And that's exactly what it did. So it gave me more ideas of specific avatars that I could work with, the pain points and aspirations, as well as giving a personalized invitation, reaching out to folks, let's say on Instagram, or even what my unique value proposition is on the landing page itself. So now that I was reflecting on everything that ChatGPT was saying, I started to get a better idea of what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. And more specifically, who I wanted to work with and who I didn't want to work with. So I said here, avatar, female intuitive healers ages 30 to 50. They want to start an online business for the very first time or expand their reach to bring in more clients and make more money, but they don't want to waver from their values when building a business. Now rewrite this with this in mind. Then ChatGPT started to create some copy that then I could use on my landing page for booking a consulting call. Now, for context, when I was creating this chat in ChatGPT, I had already started creating some products and services on my online store. Now, knowing what I know now, what I would have done at the beginning is start here before I developed anything, but I already had a lot of side projects and other initiatives that I was working on. So at this point, I knew I wanted to offer some kind of coaching call to prospective clients, and I had a landing page dedicated to sign up and do just that. So for example, I was already creating a landing page for booking a free consultation call based on some of the other work that I was doing, and I needed a lot more clarity about how to draft the landing page and make it appeal to my prospective audience. Okay, so what I did next was basically continue to refine my ideas and AI over a series of days, if not weeks. So basically, I would run with an idea and then ask ChatGPT to continue to refine it as the prompts came out. One prompt that I really liked was this one. Make a one-sentence business pitch using this formula. I help avatar do something so that they can desirable outcome. For example, I help spiritual entrepreneurs save time and money so they can be more effective in spreading their message to the world. But make one based on the data that I fed you. So in other words, it has all of that context from the chat history already, and I want it to continue to refine those ideas. So there's one for spiritual entrepreneurs, holistic practitioners, Lightworkers, energy healers, metaphysical practitioners. I said that I wanted to continue to focus on an audience that has money to spend to invest in their business. So let's change the avatar to established business owners who have holistic healing practices. And then I continue to refine and go from there. So long story short, after feeding all of this information for several weeks into AI, I then gave ChatGPT a very specific ask to create a business plan for me. Now, for some reason, I'm having trouble finding the exact prompt that I used to create the initial business plan. I think what I ended up doing was probably used like 10 or 20 different outputs in ChatGPT and combined them somewhere else. And ultimately, I think where they ended up is here in Notion. And this is why I highly recommend as a best practice is that you copy and paste and save the outputs that really resonate and that you enjoy, and save them and put them into Notion, because things can get really complicated really fast in ChatGPT, especially if you use it a lot like I do. And if you're creating a business or already have a business, chances are you're going to use AI more and more, and your prompts can get really long and complicated very quickly. So if you copy and paste what you like the most and save it into a Notion page, then it won't get lost and it'll be much easier to find in the future. So at some point, I asked ChatGPT to create a business plan based off the information that I had and saved it in Notion. And thank goodness I do that, because I was trying to find the prompt to share with you guys about where I created this, but it got so long and complicated, I couldn't even find it. So really glad that I put it in Notion so that not only I can see it in the future and use it for specific tasks, but also so that you guys can check it out too. So for example, I wrote here's my mission statement, the purpose of my company, a tagline that I really liked, the specific avatar that I wanted to work with and their pain points. And it also created for me a year 1 through 5 roadmap. So what I wanted to achieve within the first year, including some specific goals and KPIs that I can work towards, and then building into future years so that I can grow and scale my business and ultimately achieve my financial goals. Now, I also needed to look at growth and scalability. In other words, how could I get to year 5 and what would it take for me to do that? So it gave some tips about where I can grow and what I can focus on as I build year over year, and look at some of the operations, including the tech stack and workflow that I need to get my business up and running and successful. I also put in some business models in terms of the type of revenue streams that I wanted for my business. This includes flagship course sales, high-ticket consulting, memberships, and in the future, affiliate income, and maybe even in-person training and workshops. There's a little bit in the marketing strategies here. I actually have a whole other suite of tools and prompts and Notion pages that I've created about my social media marketing strategy. If you're interested and want to check it out, I offer my social media content planner for free. Link is in the description below. But also I put here some ideas on what I wanted to create for my product suite at my low ticket, mid ticket, and high ticket offers. So then what I did next is I put this business plan into ChatGPT and asked it to update it based off of all the other prompts that I had fed it so far. So this is the copy and paste version from what you just saw here in Notion and putting it here into ChatGPT. So it started to update the brand narrative for me based off of the previous experience that I gave it. And this is where we start to see things like my ed tech and my PhD and other things that I hadn't necessarily included previously. It also helped me create my flagship product, which I have since launched. This was really instrumental in helping me build and focus on the right product launch to get me going. There's also some lead magnets and social media threads. There's also some tips for social media messaging and other themes related to marketing, as well as a strategy on how to situate my offer for the future. And then from here, I just continue to iterate because business is a very iterative process. We constantly need to learn from what's working, what's not working, gathering data from our quantitative analysis or qualitative feedback from our customers or our clients, using that information and constantly trying to grow and get better. I have to say, having AI as my tool and assistant to help me get there has been a game changer. Because I actually first started mystictwist back in 2020, and it wasn't until late 2022 or 2023 where ChatGPT and other AI tools became publicly available to the masses. So I know what it's like to create a spiritual business before AI and after AI, and I have been so much more productive and effective in creating my business with the use of AI than without. So at the very least, I hope what you take away from this video is how important AI can be in helping you craft a business that you resonate with and that is one you're excited to build and grow. So whether you're building a mystical product line, launching your first course, or finally getting serious about launching your business, this method works. So having a written business plan, even just for yourself, can help unlock so much focus, momentum, and help you pave a pathway towards success. Ultimately, the business plan becomes your North Star, but it also has to begin with you. What are your superpowers? What do you want to do? And who do you want to support in the human collective? If you want support walking through your business creation process step by step, I created an ebook that does just that for you. So check it out in the link below. This is the guide that I wish I had had when I first started mystictwist back in 2020. If this video helped, please leave a comment and let me know which part offered the most help, or if there's something that you'd like me to cover that I haven't already. Because remember, you're not just building a business, you're building a mission that is going to make the world a better place. And you're gonna get paid for it too. Let's do it with clarity and power and ease. I'll see you in the next video.